It's a wild Halloween on PBS Kids.
There are some super reader trick-or-treaters knocking at the door. Silly cats and silly hats and frightened dinosaurs. You never can be sure.
What was that?
Just who you'll see. 'Cause anything can happen on a PBS Kids Halloween. It's a wild Halloween.
Begins Monday, October 25th on NJN.
Full steam ahead with Thomas and Friends. There are many new adventures and special stories with all your favorite very useful engines. Take to the tracks with Thomas and Friends on PBS Kids.
That's a very good idea.
Coming up next on KTW.
It's WordGirl, word-minded student by day, and crime-fighting superhero, well, during the day too.
Word up!
WordGirl, weekdays on PBS Kids Go, or watch anytime you want at pbskidsgo.org.
Electric company, that's right, come on. Turn on the power of this arcade crew. Living large, doing what they do. There it is. Solving, decoding, they're on the case. Keeping those sneaky pranksters in place.
Hey, you guys! Saturdays at 8:30 on NJN.
Thomas and Friends, making tracks to great destinations.
Dear Christopher, here is your friend Thomas the Tank Engine. He wanted to come out of his station yard and see the world. These stories tell you how he did it. I hope you will like them because you helped me to make them. Your loving Daddy.
James's discovery. James, the red engine, was restless. Since his accident with the trucks in the cow pasture, the Fat Controller had let him shunt around the big station to gain confidence with trucks again. But James had been shunting for some time and was eager to see the rest of the main line.
I'm tired of being tethered to the big station, he said to the others one night. I long to stretch my wheels.
The engines were tired of hearing James complain, but all of them had been in his position before, so they couldn't be cross.
Be patient, little James, Gordon said. I'm sure the Fat Controller will let you out into the world soon.
James's chance came sooner than expected. The Fat Controller sat in his office one morning when an important call came.
Yes?
A special train? Who is this? Hello? The phone clicked and was silent. The station master came in. You rang for me, sir?
Yes. I've just received a call from a station I thought for many years to be vacant.
They're asking for a special train. What kind of train, sir? A goods train, he replied solemnly. Surely it's a joke, sir. The Fat Controller looked very grim.
No, I'm afraid it's not.
Well, who will take this train?
A goods train, sir? Down the main line? Do you mean it?
James said excitedly.
Yes, said the Fat Controller, but listen very carefully. You're to take these trucks to the old station and leave them there. Pay attention to the rails and do not lose your way.
James wasn't sure what the Fat Controller meant, but he was happy to be out of the yards. Later that afternoon, James set out for his destination. James loved it. He cherished the wind in his face and the countryside rushing past.
Finally, a chance to stretch my wheels.
It took some time to reach the old station. By then, the sky was getting dark. "Would you look at this?" James's driver remarked, pointing to the station. "This used to be the junction to an old branch line, long before you came along, James." "Really? Who ran the branch line?" "An old engine, about the same size as Thomas. He was put out of service a long time ago." "What's happened?" James asked, beginning to feel uneasy. I don't remember exactly," his driver replied. James got the feeling that his driver wasn't telling him something. James and his crew set down the trucks in an old siding. A thick fog was beginning to form. "We'd better hurry back," said James's driver. "The fog is making it hard to see." The fog did make it hard to see. So hard, in fact, that James started down the wrong track. Down the old branch line. Neither the driver nor the fireman recognized the mistake. "Something's wrong," said James. "The track feels rough." "It's an old section of main line. You're just not used to it, James." Suddenly, James saw a flash of red lights in the distance. "What's that?" James cried. "That's not a signal. That's a..." The fog began to lift, and James realized he was not on the main line. James was not sure where he was, but what he saw there terrified him. Up ahead was an old engine shed. In its stall sat an old, dead engine, rusted from smoke box to cab. The only light came from a busted red tail lamp, which sat on the engine's footplate. "Oh, horrors!" James cried. He closed his eyes and ran back as fast as his wheels would let him. He was going so fast that when he returned to the old station, he smashed into the trucks in the siding, spilling their contents. Inside the trucks was what appeared to be demolition equipment. James didn't stop for long to inspect the goods. He hurried back up the main line to get back to his shed. The old station sat eerily quiet. The door of the station building creaked open, and out stepped the Fat Controller. He sighed as he saw the contents of the trucks strewn about on the ground. "I really hope James wouldn't have seen this," he muttered to himself. "I've got to correct my mistakes, no matter how old." Taking off his jacket, the Fat Controller piled as much of the equipment in his car as he could and hurried down the dirt road toward the old engine shed.
Here are some dots. If we join the dots, we will see one of the engines on Sir Topham Hatt's railway. I wonder which engine that is. Let's join the dots and find out. Here we go. There's a large tender, the cab, and there's the dome. This is a very big engine. It's got a very small funnel. Can you tell who it is yet? Around the buffers and the wheels, it's got lots of wheels. Do you know who it is? That's right. It's Gordon. Hello, Gordon. Today, Thomas and his friends are playing a game. 3 of his friends are in these sheds. There's Gordon, there's Emily, and there's James. Thomas is trying to remember which of his friends is in which shed. Can you help him? Gordon's in the first shed, Emily's in the middle shed, and James is in the last shed. Gordon, Emily, James. Thomas has to remember which friend is in the first shed. Here he comes. Have you remembered who it is? Yes, it's Gordon. This time, Thomas has to remember which friend is in the middle shed. Here comes someone. Have you remembered who it is? Yes, it's Emily. Now Thomas has to remember which friend is in the last shed. Here he comes. Who is it going to be? Yes, it's James. Thomas remembered where all his friends were. Did you? The island of Sodor is a wonderful place. Thomas enjoys puffing all over the island. There are lots of special places to visit. Where's this? That's right. It's the coaling plant. The coaling plant is a very important place on the island of Sodor. All the steam engines need coal, so every day is a busy day at the coaling plant. One day, Thomas had been given shiny new freight cars. He didn't want to get them dirty. So Thomas backed his new cars slowly and carefully under the hopper. But Thomas's new cars wanted to be dirty. So they biffed and bashed just as the coal came out of the hopper. Thomas and the freight cars were covered in coal. But Thomas saw the cars were much happier being dirty. Coal cars are not only dirty, they're heavy. One winter's day, Edward had to work with James. The tracks were very icy. James was in a hurry, but Edward didn't want to rush. James didn't know how very icy the tracks were. His wheels started to slip and slide. James applied his brakes as hard as he could. But it was too late. Luckily, no one was hurt. Working in the coaling plant is dirty work. And some engines like to stay clean. One day, the railway inspector was going to give a prize. James wanted to be in the best place. Then there was trouble. So that's why the coaling plant is very special for James. There are so many special places on the island of Sodor. Next time, Thomas will show us somewhere else. Sir Topham Hatt has given Percy a big job. It's going to take him all night. At night, everything looks different. It can be hard to know what things are, so Percy likes to guess. First, Percy has to go to the docks. What can that be? Percy thinks it could be a giant bird. It's very tall. It has a long arm. And it's at the docks. Of course, it's not a bird, it's Cranky the Crane. Next, Percy is pulling his freight car through a village. But what can this be? Percy thinks it could be a strange building. It looks like a block with 2 rows of holes. But buildings don't move, and they can't honk a horn. And those aren't holes. They're windows. Of course. It's not a strange building, it's Bertie the bus. Things do look different in the dark. But you guessed what they were. Well done. All the engines on Sodor look different. But this engine has been working in the coaling plant today and is covered in coal dust. How can we tell who it is? This engine has a round face and boiler. Do all the engines have round faces? No. Mavis and Toby have square faces, so it can't be either of them. What else can we see? This engine has a separate coal tender at the back. Do all the other engines have separate coal tenders? No. Thomas and Percy don't, so it can't be either of them. This engine has a very tall funnel. Do all the other engines have tall funnels? No. Henry and Gordon don't, so it can't be either of them. Who's left? James and Emily. James and Emily look very similar. They've got round faces, tall funnels, and separate coal tenders. This engine must have a washdown. What about that big drive wheel? There's only one engine with a drive wheel like that. And the engine is green. So it can't be James. It's Emily. Hello, Emily. When Henry thinks, he puffs out a cloud of steam. Look carefully at the shape the steam makes. Henry is thinking about one of his friends. Whose shape is this? This friend doesn't have a funnel. And what's that sticking out on either side? They're wings. Henry is thinking about Jeremy the Jet. Now, Henry is thinking about something else. What shape is his steam making this time? It's another of Henry's friends. Whose shape is that? It's very tall and has something hanging down with a hook. Henry is thinking about Cranky the Crane. Now Henry is thinking about something else. What shape is his steam making now? Henry is thinking about something he has seen at the Scottish castle. It's almost square-shaped. And it flutters in the wind. That's right! Henry is thinking about the flag that flies on top of the Scottish castle. Well done, Henry.
Toby's Ghost. Toby the tram engine loved working at the quarry. It was always a hive of activity as stone was cut into the towers and moved down the conveyors into the trucks, ready to be taken to other areas of the island for use in buildings, fences, and many other things. Quarry work could be hectic and very dirty, but it was honest work, and Toby was good at it. Toby had years of experience, to be sure, but he also knew how to work with trucks. Toby loved telling them stories, and the trucks loved to hear them. However, Toby was known to embellish his stories somewhat. One day, the foreman approached Toby and his crew about a large stone delivery. "It's been ordered from an anonymous party near the old branch station," said the foreman. Toby, his driver, and his fireman traded nervous glances. "That's odd," said Toby. "We haven't set wheel on that part of the island for a long time." "That's right," said the foreman. "What's stranger still is that Sir Topham Hatt expedited the shipment to the old station, which means we need to get busy preparing the train." Toby set to work shunting the trucks into a long line, each being loaded one by one with fresh-cut stone. All the while, Toby felt very uneasy about the whole affair. "You look grim," said the leader of the train. "It's the old station," Toby replied. "It's been a long time since we got any correspondence from there at all."
"It's just an old station. What's there to be nervous about?"
Toby looked down at his buffers. A few days ago, James was asked to drop off a goods train there. Last time I spoke to him, he told me about something he saw. What? 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 The trucks chattered. Let me tell you a story, said Toby. Many years ago, before the other engines arrived, there was an old engine that lived on an old branch line. They say he was just a prototype since he bore no number. He worked on a big railway on the mainland for many years, but fell ill and was brought here to the island for lighter branch line work. But as time went on, the old engine's health began to get worse. His parts became worn and he was in pain no matter what he did. The controller at that time didn't care much for the engine or his pain, and the poor engine took matters into his own hands.
What did the engine do?
The old engine, to escape his pain, ran his passenger train off the rails and into the ravine. The trucks were horrified. They say his ghost still haunts that old station. That's why I'm nervous. I believe James must have seen the old engine's ghost. The trucks were spooked by Toby's story. Soon, it was time for Toby and the stone trucks to leave for the old station, and the trucks were scared.
What if the old engine's ghost is lurking around the old station?
They said to one another.
What if we fall into the ravine?
It took a long time to get to the old station. The part of the main line from which the station branched was old and overgrown and hadn't been traveled on for a long time. Toby pushed the trucks into the siding and prepared to leave to go back to the quarry. The trucks didn't want him to go.
Where are you going?
They cried. You won't be able to be unloaded until the morning, said Toby. We have other trains to prepare for the morning. I'll come back for you tomorrow. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound coming up the branch line. It sounded almost like an engine, but there weren't any engines around. Who's there? Called Toby's driver. But there was no answer. The sound became louder, but now it was the sound of squeaking metal, like a rusty wheel that hadn't been oiled for a long time. Toby and the trucks were completely silent, looking all around them for the source of the noise. Then, at the crest of the hill leading to the branch line, they saw the silhouette of an old engine. Toby backed up quickly to the trucks to get away. They all stood quivering. It's the
ghost engine!
The trucks cried. A spotlight flashed on. Standing there was Sir Topham Hatt, and there was Thomas, pushing an old, rusty engine. Oh, it's only you, Toby, said Sir Topham Hatt. For a moment there, I thought there were trespassers. Sir, what are you doing here? Exclaimed Toby. Well, Toby, the time has come for us to face what happened to this old branch line. I thought the engine who ran this old line perished in the ravine, sir, Toby said. No, Toby. This was an old contractor's engine I used to build this branch line many years ago. When the war started, I was never able to finish it, and I had to leave him here. But, sir, the stories! I know what the stories say, Toby, but none of them are true. My engine was weak, but he was a hard worker. It broke my heart to leave him here, but I was needed elsewhere. Sir Topham Hatt sounded close to tears. He lived a good life on his little branch line, and now I'm rebuilding it in his honor. My old friend here will be sent to be used as a model for the statue. Soon, we'll have a nice attraction for the island's visitors. Toby was most surprised. I had no idea. Don't believe everything you hear, Toby. Sir Topham Hatt was true to his word. Soon, the old branch line was up and running and became a very popular destination for passengers. The old engine statue glistened in the sunshine. Looking at that statue, Toby realized that sometimes there's more to a story than meets the eye.
PBS Kids.
Scientist in the house.
It's Sid the Science Kid on PBS Kids.
Did you hear the one about the kid who wanted to know everything about everything?
That's you!
He investigates.
Let's go get some answers.
Inquires.
Have you ever seen a chart?
And explores the big questions.
Banana, why did you have to go and get all brown and mushy?
Well, just like every Troodon, I'm happiest when the lights aren't on. After all the passengers disembark, I love to step out in the dark. 'Cause I'm nocturnal and it's great. We Troodons like to stay up late. Now there's no need to feel no fright, 'cause all the Troodons are coming out tonight.
Dinosaur Train on PBS Kids and PBSKids.org.